Welcome to episode 80 of Comic Book Nation, the official podcast of Comicbook.com. I am your host, Kofi Outlaw, and with me is the Wednesday team once again, my co-host, Matthew Aguilar.
Hello.
And Janelle Wheeler is back with us.
Hey, guys.
And today, we've got a lot of mixed bag stuff to clean up. I mean, usually I come out and I'll be like, we got a great show for you. But we got a show of mixed things to kind of clean up here, so we're going to go and...
What a way to sell it.
Way to sell that sizzle. But I mean, there are some highlights to this. It's not all flat. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be here recording. Like, I mean, what is it? Just a conversation with, like, you? No.
Wow.
So, I do that all day in the office.
Jeez.
No, Janelle, you're out of this. You're always welcome. But this guy I talk to all day. But no, we have some good stuff to talk about, and we're going to jump right into it in our news segment because, yeah, something great did happen today, which is the release of the new Bad Boys for Life trailer, which came along to brighten all our days on a somber
Can we all sing it?
Tuesday.
Yes.
What? Bad Boys.
Go ahead.
Bad Boys.
Going nowhere.
Wow,
Whoa,
just
yeah,
recreated
wow.
the scene from the film. All of
Yeah.
us on different
All
planets.
different wavelengths of which song we're singing, yeah.
Worth it.
Some people did the P. Diddy. I did the classic cops.
Totally
Janelle's
worth it.
on the P. Diddy. Like, although that was good. We brought that song back for you recently. Like, you were really mad when we brought back that Bad Boys for Life song.
Why was I mad?
Because it was in your head again. You were just not happy to have it back in your head.
I just didn't like the new remix.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's right. You were
Yeah.
the hater on the
No,
trailer.
not the
Well,
trailer.
well-
No, Go back and watch that again if you would like the correct
Okay, the
interpretation
song.
of that. The song, and the song still is meh.
Matt, it was a perfect trailer from
Not a
top to
great
bottom.
remix
The trailer
of
was
that song.
perfect. Everything about it was perfect. The music was perfect. The song.
Wait, whoa.
Perfect.
We might get another,
I know. we might
negative
get
review
another
there.
One-star review I'm working on over here.
Whoa.
But anyway, let's get back to it. So we got this new trailer, this Red Band trailer for Bad Boys for Life, which lays out a little bit more of the story. We learned that basically this is kind of like a weird, it's almost like a time jump thing. Like, I don't know if there's an actual time jump, but in terms of like premise and story, Marcus kind of retires from living this bad boy's life. He wants to become a good man instead of a bad boy.
I love that line.
That's
We should be good men, not
yeah.
bad boys. So good.
Yeah, so many of us have trouble getting over that whole hump.
So was the scene
I
with
like
that
that
chair.
they were fearless with the like dropping the F-bomb in
Oh,
the
yeah.
trailer too.
No, this was
Really
all
nice.
full Red Band
Yeah.
trailer. So this one was great because you get to really see how these scenes are going to play.
Yeah.
But Will Smith joins this new crew of young hotshots called Ammo, which I love as a name, with like Vanessa Hudgens and a bunch of other people who are coming into the franchise. But he needs Marcus when he's targeted by somebody. He needs Marcus to help him kind of come in and solve this case because he's not clicking with his new partners. I feel like something more serious is going to happen with that team. Like,
I agree. I
they're
wonder,
gonna get
like
shot
my
down or hurt.
hypothesis, I wonder if one of the team members is one of the ones behind the target.
Bum, bum, bum.
that'd be crazy. That'd be good if him and Marcus like beat down some young kid at the end. That'd be-
Yeah.
I know on the last episode when we talked about this, we kind of talked about like the theory of some of them dying or like the whole team like dying early on. Like,
Yeah.
seeing them here though, I really hope that they stick around for a while
Yeah.
because they actually I like the energy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so did
Between
I.
them.
snapping the back and forth.
Yeah, it's great. It's good. It needs that. So
No, they're like a good. They're like the two cops from the Latin cops that they work with.
Yeah, which they were
especially in the
awesome.
first film and even in the second film, who they always snap with,
Yeah.
but like kind of work with. So I hope it's another one of those because that stuff is really fun in the franchise. But I mean, this feels like we haven't missed a step with Martin Lawrence and Will Smith. They're right back. There's some funny scenes of Martin Lawrence. There's a lot of question about like what his life status is. It looks like he could be like divorced or something like
Yeah.
that.
I'm
He's
actually
living-
glad to see it though. I'm glad they're acknowledging it. They're not hiding behind like, oh, we're like bad. We're still like awesome. I love that he knows his place. He's like, dude, I am over this.
the
Like,
Yeah.
recliner,
Yeah.
the recliner part where he locks it in.
I like
and,
that he's
it's
talking
so
about
good.
retirement and like this is not his bag of chips. It's more believable that way. I really like that.
Yeah,
a
and it's
lot.
really good. I mean, it's a really good kind of. There's a level, I mean, of meta humor that we haven't talked about with it, which is that like in real life, Will Smith is still dyeing his hair all black to get rid of the silver tips and
Yeah.
jumping on screen and doing Gemini Mans and stuff. And Martin's like largely stepped back from
Yeah.
any of this and doesn't do any of
I
this
didn't even think
anymore.
about that.
And like, yeah, so there is this kind of funny level of meta humor to like what they're talking about. Because it's just them, like, I mean, it is in the script, but it's also them in real life, like,
Yeah.
ragging on each other about, like, their career statuses. Like, where is Will Smith? Where's Martin Lawrence, who is kind of, like, largely retired from Hollywood? You don't really see
Yeah,
him.
he
We
doesn't
don't really
pop up
hear.
as much as
Like,
this
yeah.
one. Yeah.
And Will Smith's still out here trying to do the save the world or Mr. Action Star thing. So I think it's going to be good on that level, and to just see them kind of riffing with that and enjoying it on double levels. And so
Yeah.
I'm really excited. Bad Boys still one of my
My favorite part of the trailer is the very end. Is when the dead body falls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
onto
gosh,
the
my
van.
wife's car.
Yeah.
She knows. She,
knows,
always
yeah.
knows.
She always
do.
knows. Yeah, that was
They
that was
always
a little
do.
too real. That's a little
such a
too real
good
for
line.
married life.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
yeah,
so good.
'cause that
think
would be your real reaction. Be like, oh my god, she knows already.
Yeah. I think it's pretty notable that like they didn't even have to reveal anything about the villain whatsoever. There's like we have no idea who the villain is or anything about that, and the trailer was still
There's
amazing.
a fight with
and I wanna
somebody
see
on
the
a
movie.
motorcycle. A fight with somebody on
Yeah.
a motorcycle.
Oh, the helmet. Yeah, the plaid.
And there you go. And they look
That's it.
evil.
It's like
just-
it's like a standalone.
I just love that this movie is on the good side of the every other Will Smith movie is good.
Oh,
So
that's a good
it's
point.
nice that this one will land in that spot. That's what at least gives me way more hope.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have another one scheduled.
I don't think there's one in
before
between.
this.
Yeah, he does.
There's
The
one
Tom
in-
Holland animated one.
Oh, that's-
Yeah, I think we're just
well,
yeah.
Spy-
Your theory is unraveling
the
rather
spy one?
quickly. Yeah, spy like me or
Where he's the bird.
yeah,
Where he becomes the bird.
yeah, whatever it is.
All right. Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
that means that one's going to be better than this one.
Yeah, I don't know if this is a whole true statistic. I can't remember like any Will Smith movie recently that I've like been in love with. So this is gonna be like the one that came along in the
All right,
last
you didn't
5
like Aladdin,
years.
but I liked Aladdin.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Aladdin, that's
Aladdin
right.
was great.
Yeah,
I didn't
okay.
see it. I know.
I didn't
When's that
see it.
coming
Hey,
out?
very
that's
good.
not a crime. I didn't see it. I'm not going to see it. It's okay.
But it was like he was good at it.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
good
it
at
was
it.
good.
and
yeah.
it made a lot of money.
And then
Yeah.
what was
Yeah,
the one? But
good.
now I need a chart. You're right. Now we need like a Will.
Yeah, now we're gonna check Jim's math on this. I don't rock with Jim's math off jump, but like we'll check it later. But moving right along.
Gemini Man came after Aladdin, and we
Yeah.
all know how that one went.
No, you're right up until this year. Right now, I just want to look at the larger
Yeah,
macro
because
picture
honestly,
of this.
before Aladdin,
Yeah,
I cannot remember when
even the last one
Will
was.
Smith
Yeah,
movie
exactly.
No.
When was Focus?
Suicide Squad?
Wait,
Like-
Suicide Squad? It was Suicide Squad,
Was
right?
it may have been Suicide.
I mean, if you want to count that one.
Oh, he's got to have done something. Since
You're
Suicide
right.
Squad.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean we'll check it later. We're not checking it now.
Oh my God! So many
Tweet
questions.
us.
Yeah.
Somebody hashtag.
Yeah,
Comic
if
Book
you're
Nation,
watching
let
this
us
stream
know.
right now, throw it in the stream. All right,
Yeah.
moving right along for us though. We're gonna jump over to HBO and talk about. I mean, fall season's underway. We got a bunch of new shows, a lot of things happening. But I feel like HBO's not getting enough. I mean, HBO kind of has it popping right now, as I put in the show notes. I actually wrote.
Yeah, you're right.
Show notes are very colorful. People, we'll like one day throw these up and reveal to them. Like,
Oh, we
listeners.
totally should.
Yeah, what
it's
we
a great
write into the
idea.
actual show notes. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're pretty colorful. Basically, HBO has Watchmen. Now, on Sunday nights, they have Watchmen, and they've just premiered his Dark Materials. So I thought we'd just check in and kind of talk about that a little bit. Funny enough, I actually got into this business like back in 2007, and one of my first reviews ever as like a professional critic was The Golden Compass.
Oh no.
Yeah, there was not a good start. And I think they
Yeah.
threw me that assignment because nobody else wanted to do it.
So disappointing.
So yeah, and I just came away being like, "What is this movie? And why are these books so popular? Like, I don't get it."
Same.
So I've been kind of curious to see, the full on his Dark Materials, because if you do research, like this book is crazy popular, especially in the UK. I mean, it won the literary prize in Sweden. That's second only to the Nobel Peace Prize. It's been voted like one of the most important books of the 2000s, one of the most important book series of all time, like behind. I think it was voted in Britain at one point, like behind Lord of the Rings and Pride and Prejudice.
Whoa.
Is Dark Materials,
And it has polar bears.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
armor.
lots of
probably.
Polar
different
bears is
animals.
Armor.
Yeah, I mean that's
Fight,
awesome.
yeah.
You had me
Yeah.
at that. Screw the awards. You had me at polar bear
But
and armor.
like, yeah, I mean, this is it's a sweeping mythology. It's kind of deep in mythos about kind of challenging things like conformity, religion, government, all this stuff. It's a lot. So I was kind of curious about how it was going to work in this new TV series, which is a joint venture between HBO and BBC One. And the ratings on BBC One, like, it's been huge for them, the biggest in like 5 years. But it's kind of interesting to see how it will play out here. I think a lot of the reaction here has been more kind of subdued. People might have thinking it was a little bit slow to start. And there is. I mean, there is literally the first premiere episode is all world building and kind of explaining where we are, what the situation is, and kind of walking through this whole deep I mean, right off the bat, political intrigue that's happening in this world.
Thank God they did dive really deep into that though, because I would be lost.
Yeah,
I loved how well they explained that whole world, the backstory, even just the intro with the beginning credits where they're explaining what's going on. This girl got it, and I'm like, okay, this is awesome. I actually even know where they are right now because the way that they faded away the writing to reveal where they are. It was just beautiful. It's such a cool show. I watched it
the
today.
production values are really crazy strong. I mean, bringing that world to life. I mean, you're talking about a world, and just imagine trying to get this in a movie, like where they had to
tried.
throw it at you, like.
Don't forget they tried.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like, that's what I'm saying. Think
a
back to
very
this movie.
expensive try,
The things
too,
that
from
this
what I've
episode lets you kind of simmer with, they just throw at you in like the first 10 minutes of a movie. I mean, this whole thing, if you're not prepared that each human being has an animal partner called a demon, like, is so confusing when you try to watch the movie.
It really is confusing.
You're like,
That's
so wait,
why
is this good or is
they
this bad?
explained
Like,
it really well right at the very start of it. It was
and more
awesome.
importantly, they let you see the animals and how they interact with their human counterparts and throughout the episode and all that. And like, yeah, in the movie, you're just like thrown into this concept and then like it's going. And every time somebody says demon, your reaction's like, wait, that's something bad. But you're like, oh wait, no, that's something good. This kind of lets it simmer in. Yeah, and it works a lot better. And I was amazed how much effort they put in because every human character has to have basically like a CGI animal partner. And they really spent the money, did that, made it look great. And yeah, there is a lot of political intrigue and stuff, but this episode manages to kind of lay it out, give you enough mystery and intrigue about children being abducted, this stuff called dust in the city in the sky, and possible alternate universes, but it keeps you going. And what's her name? Daphne Keane. I just call her X-23 all the time. Logan. She does a pretty good job. The rest of the cast is really good. I thought James McAvoy, Ruth Wilson, like dude from The Wire, black dude from The Wire, whose name I always forget. But yeah, it was a little bit slow. I mean, this is a very kind of UK style show.
Yeah, it felt like kind of like grown-up Harry Potter meets Fantastic Beasts.
Yeah.
Like it just felt really cool. I'm reading the Harry Potter series for the first time ever. I'm sorry, forgive me. And I was actually reading the book, and then I put the book down, and then I started the show, and I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm like at Hogwarts or something. When they first start off, there's a flood, and there's this little baby, and you don't know who that's going to turn into, and they just explain it really well, and it's just exciting, and it's kind of grown up too. Like grown-ups can enjoy it, and if you have your kid watching for some reason, that's cool too.
Shying away from like real things in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
So you reviewed the original movie.
yes,
But didn't
had no idea what the
read
books were.
And then you are reading the books as you're watching the show, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is cool.
So okay, but I was gonna ask because I guess you guys both kind of come from it though as like not steeped
Right.
in this,
No.
in this knowledge.
No.
Not at all. Yeah. And it's
But someone could just leap
yes, you can
into
just jump
this
right into
without
it.
reading.
Yep.
Yeah, the show does a
100%.
good enough job of laying it out for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And like I had no idea about the animal companions or demons. I had no idea like about the alternate, like it's a different dimension. Like I didn't know anything, and I got it all.
Okay. Because
Like,
I
it
was
all
at the
made sense.
panel at San Diego or New York for the show, and they didn't do a very good job of like
Dude,
Explaining
getting
it?
across
His
like
Dark Materials is one of the hardest things to explain to
well, yeah,
someone.
really
that was
is.
the
Like,
thing.
it really is.
And they showed footage there, and it was still like so they did that thing of where you're dancing around all the stuff and you're trying to explain just the core premise of well here's what it is, and it was so hard. I came away from that just feeling like that was so boring. That hour was so
I'm actually
boring, and I
curious-
still don't know anything.
I'm curious what you're gonna think about. So you haven't watched it yet.
I haven't watched it yet.
I'm
I
actually
was
really
on the
curious.
fence with watching it, to be honest.
There's a lot of things you'll like.
I
like a lot
loved
of the
it.
fantasy elements. But this is just a slow start because it gets a lot crazier. I mean, there's journeys into far off lands, adventure, polar bears fighting, witches,
Had me.
big
None
war
of
that
was
goes down.
shown
Like,
in this first episode. It was
Yeah,
really
it's
just
just-
letting you know what.
And I
what
hear
this
that's
is.
Lin-Manuel is that character with the polar bear
yeah.
demon, and I understand he doesn't show up till later,
Yeah.
like later in
Yeah.
in the season. But I am intrigued. I will
Yeah.
give it a shot from the two glowing
Yeah.
endorsements.
So this one
there.
is
I
a
will give it
slow burn start, but if you know where this heads, it's a pretty epic adventure. So you really do need the foundation underneath you. So this is like, your study.
Yeah.
This is like the study session. This is like the first level of a video game where you just have to run through tutorials and kind of get everything, and then you go out in the world.
Yeah.
And that's how, it's literally, it's not a spoiler to say, the end of the premiere is them literally going out into the world on this big adventure start. So check out his Dark Materials. Let us know what you think. We're going to move on to talking about Watchmen. This is not going to become...
I've got some breaking news, though. You ready?
Oh, yeah. I love breaking news while we're on the show.
Andy Serkis is in talks to play Alfred Pennyworth in Matt Reeves' The Batman.
Wow.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, things have taken kind of a turn in the DC universe. We were going to stop at Watchmen, but we'll get there. Let's talk about this. So, as we're sitting here, producer Jim Viscardi's just throwing a big twist in the room, which is that we found out that the Batman's... wait, I don't know why I'm repeating this. You just said it.
Yeah.
Just said it.
It's literally that is
I
all.
forget that you have a mic sometimes.
There's a cone of silence.
I thought we took that away from him. No.
That's all that is known right now.
Wow, this is flashbacks. The last podcast I did, we had when Jesse Eisenberg was cast as Lex Luthor in the middle of a podcast. So this one's crazy. So Andy Serkis is going to be Alfred. Okay. That's really kind of interesting.
I can see it. There are shades of, it's weird. The first thing that popped into my mind was his portrayal of Claw in the MCU, just in that it'll be interesting to see if they go a bit more sort of that rough and tumble Gotham-esque, Alfred, or if they go with a Michael Caine type. And I think Andy Serkis is someone who actually kind of fits perfectly in the middle.
Yeah, I could see him. If you don't have Michael Sheen, I feel like that's a good one to pick up instead.
Also, this is a younger Batman?
Yeah, so this is going to be...
more sense.
Yeah, I think this is going to be like combat assistant.
I was going to complain about that, but that's a really good point.
Yeah, because I can see him be the older presence to Pattinson, right?
Yeah, and the experienced one who helps him.
Yeah,
tactically.
And I loved Gotham's interpretation of Alfred. I really liked that interpretation of like an Alfred that still does stuff and isn't just this like statuesque British person that just says
that Pennyworth
things. I like doing things. Yeah,
Pennyworth has given Alfred a lot more clout right now. The Pennyworth TV series, which was popular enough to get renewed for season 2, so Alfred's kind of breaking out of his shell right now. So Andy Serkis, that's good. It's just kind of crazy because while we're talking about this, Andy Serkis is also going to be directing Venom 2 for Sony. So he's not busy now.
He's got a lot of stuff going on right now.
So I wonder, I hope all of this holds together. Like, I don't want to hear,
Well, Venom 2 theoretically won't, well, no, I guess.
It's got to start shooting like now.
And it'd be one thing if he was just appearing, but like he's directing, like that's like a big undertaking, that's time consuming. I can't see it right away.
I know.
I have a really hard time seeing Serkis as an Alfred that I have seen in other media, but I'm excited about what he can do.
That's where I feel like he kind of fits kind of in the middle.
I feel like there's a role of his that it's like on the tip of my tongue, but like he played something like that. I don't know what it is, but he is also like kind of. The reason I have trouble with it is he's also a character whose like face is very animated.
See, I think he's like villainous looking.
Yeah. He looks like he's kooky or kind of like crazy. He doesn't look like all composed and And
that's the thing. I don't get that like that buttoned up look necessarily from him. Not to say he can't do it. The man is brilliant.
Yeah.
But it's one of those.
Oh, maybe the closest thing I'm thinking of is The Prestige, where he's like Dr. Tesla's assistant to David Bowie.
Yep.
Yeah, like that's the most buttoned up I've ever seen him be like on something.
But I am intrigued.
Yeah.
I do want to see it because I think he can. Maybe he just hasn't been really presented with that kind of part a lot, so he can actually flex his muscles.
Yeah, and we also don't know still. It's also really important to note we don't know the nature of this Alfred performance yet. We know it's going to be different. We just don't know how and how dynamic it could be. If Alfred has to beat down some guys, I can see Andy Serkis.
This also just makes me hate that, to me, DC EU Jeremy Irons Alfred was wasted. I was just I love Jeremy Irons. I love his Alfred.
He was so good.
And it was just like
perfect segue because he's still here. He's not gone. He's back on Watchmen, showing it all, bearing it all. If you love him, you can love all of him.
So, that's very true.
that brings us back. I mean, I'm excited for this Batman news. I'm going to be taking it in and just kind of thinking this over. But let us know what you guys think at the hashtag Comic Book Nation. Moving right along, back to HBO. Watchmen is heating up this week. I thought this week, episode 3 was like the best one so far. It introduced Jean Smart, who I love Jean Smart. I've loved her since like 24 is where I really kind of, when she played the First Lady and was really great at that. But she was also like really a knockout in Legion, in the X-Men show Legion. But here, I mean, she just like, man, I love the ladies of this show. Like Regina King just came in on the first episode and just like owned it. And Jean Smart comes in on episode 3.
And they're so good together.
Yeah, they're so good together.
Oh my gosh.
And Jean Smart just comes and owns this entire episode as like a showcase of like, here's why I'm awesome as a character actor. And it's not a spoiler. We're going to talk spoilers about this. So just we're going to keep it a little light. I mean, we're just going to talk spoilers. So trying to like dance around this, but we're going to talk spoilers. So she comes in. It's not a spoiler to say that she is Laurie Blake, who is the Silk Spectre 2 from the original Watchmen comic. She's the daughter of the original Silk Spectre and the illegitimate child of the comedian Edward Blake, which is one of the big mysteries in Watchmen, is finding out this relationship between her mother and the comedian, which, you know, the controversial scene is that he was like somebody who sexually assaulted her mother, but then she finds out they had this more complicated kind of weird BDSM relationship, and that her mother still kind of had a thing for Blake and that she was his child, and it was this whole messy situation. And she was, of course, Dr. Manhattan's lover until he left Earth and she got with Night Owl. So this catches us up, and this is the most direct connection to the original Watchmen yet, because this is a character from the original series that we catch up with now in a very different phase of life. And like, yeah, she just comes in and has this awesome introduction scene where she's at a bank. It looks like she's a bank robber. They do this bait and switch, and it gets thwarted by like what is now being called bootleg Batman, who comes in to stop him. And it turns out it's an FBI trap. She's on a task force to hunt masked heroes. So this is a trap to catch Batman, and you know, Batman tries to run away, and she just lays him down with some bullets in the back. And they're like, "How'd you know his body armor would stop it?" And she's like,
yeah. She just keeps walking.
Yeah, she keeps walking.
I'm just like,
she's very gun happy.
Yeah,
she just reaches for that gun real quick.
Yeah, that's a callback to what happens later in the episode.
Yep.
But like, yeah, Laurie Blake is like very bitter and kind of trying to deal. You find out that, you know, Night Owl has been locked up for being a vigilante, so he's gone. Dr. Manhattan. And these episodes are really excellent. Like, people really should give Watchmen a chance. I hope HBO does something smart and like offers a free preview again or something like that. They did over Halloween, but like again, and just let people binge like the first 3 or 4 episodes, because I think by the end of episode 3, more people would really be into this.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before as like, I don't have any background knowledge of Watchmen at all. I didn't even see the movie.
That makes you invaluable.
I will say, I walked in today, and the first question I asked, I was like, "Hey, where can I watch the movie?" Because this was the first time this episode triggered me going, I need to understand her relationship with Dr. Manhattan. Like, I want to know who he was, what.
Yeah, because if you get that out of context in this episode, it might be a little confusing.
It's a little confusing. It's not bad. Like, they do make it clear that, like, I'm not going to get too graphic, but during one scene when she's in the bedroom, she pulls out something that reminds her of her ex-lover. And like, you know where she stood with him. It's just, I want to know more.
You want
like,
more
I
context.
really
no,
want
it's
more
really
context.
it is a good story you should get for background. About what happens to Dr. Manhattan.
And it's such an adult, like, this is grown up comic book.
Yeah.
hype.
Oh, very much.
Like, and I love that because I'm used to Marvel, bright colors and fun.
Well, I mean, there were bright colors. Let's not.
No, but it's just a different. Stop it! I'm wearing blue right now. Stop. Oh, just kidding. I don't know. It's really cool. I love that it feels adult, and I can, watch this. Like, lots of violence, sexual content, adult storyline, blood. The whole thing. It's great.
I'm trying to let Janelle get through a monologue.
I'm just trying to keep
so hard not to
keep
smile.
it moving.
I've been trying to smile. You have to understand what the scene is, and you'll be way more comfortable too. You're just like blissfully unaware right now.
I'm okay with this right now.
Yeah, it's all good.
Oh, God.
But this was the greatest. I mean, in the way it's structured, I really love it. Like I said, each episode's like a movie, and so this one is framed and they do so many deep cut things that if you really liked Watchmen and spent a lot of time with it, it's so interesting. I mean, even this
So many cool Easter eggs in this.
yeah,
this thing.
the not even this
See,
not
that's
safe
what
for
makes
work
me-
scene with Dr. Manhattan
makes me wanna watch
and
it.
her memorabilia of Dr. Manhattan is like even a deep cut with a picture inside the suitcase of her hugging Dr. Manhattan is a callback to her mother who used to keep a comedian's picture next to her bed, and she gave her mother so much crap about that, about how could you love this man who did this to you and all this, and her mother tried to explain like this is what happens, you'll get older, you'll begin to look back on your life and people in it, and you'll begin to be like this. And she was like all gung-ho, like, no, but this kind of cements that circle.
Wow, that's cool.
And the episode, which I love, is framed. There are these phone booths where you can go and talk to Dr. Manhattan wherever he is
Yeah,
by
that
sending
was
radio
really
signals into space. So it's
interesting.
like a way, it's like almost like a church. People can
Yeah.
talk to God
Wow.
by calling up Dr.
And it's
Manhattan.
like this message will be sent in 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Like there's
And
a
so-
time cutoff. They're
Well,
like,
they
you have
gotta-
30
they gotta
seconds
get-
left.
It takes time to
to
get
Yeah.
beam across space. So the whole episode is framed by her going to this phone booth and trying to tell this joke to Dr. Manhattan, like kind of a callback to, and like
cool.
making her
Yeah.
like her father. Like, and it is, and it's a messed up joke, like the comedian would tell. Like, it's something.
Wow.
And the episode frames that joke so well to the very last scene, which kind of brings in the punchline, which is also the title of the episode, and it's just really tight. And
Can I
really
throw a
good.
theory out there?
What's that?
Yeah.
So I've been talking to our new writer Spencer Perry, started today or yesterday, and
I'll say that guy like he's new. I know Spencer for way too long.
but he threw a thing out there that Jeremy Irons' character, who we now know as Adrian Veidt, is actually not on Earth but on Mars, imprisoned by Dr. Manhattan. Because there's a scene where he's like kicking the crap out of one of the clones he tried to send
Yeah.
to space, and he's like F this, F and that, and he says F and Mars, which you could just think, oh, maybe he's just
Trying to travel
because
there.
he's trying to travel there or whatnot. But given like the weird introduction of the game warden as just sort of this character that is a mystery up until this point, like I thought to myself, well, maybe that could be Manhattan. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was about.
Yeah, there's a lot of theories that he's either
Okay.
a prisoner, he could be Dr. Manhattan, like trying to reconnect with humanity. Like, there's a lot of stuff. But that's the thing. That's why we got to stay
that's why the
invested.
show's so good.
Yeah, stay invested. So give Watchmen a chance. It's getting good, really good. Don't mess this up for us. Get this canceled, man. Come on. All right, moving right along. Now that I've done my self-serving plug.
Does HBO? How are the? I don't know. How does HBO
It's
really
not
rank
being.
its?
I mean, it's not really being talked as much as I think we would hope.
Yeah, it's not
Okay.
buzzing enough. You're not watching it, so you're failing.
Yeah.
enough.
Like
What the
like
heck?
when, like when
I don't
Westworld
need
came
to
out,
know.
like when Westworld came out, everyone was kind of talking about it because there was kind of a central mystery there, and everyone was just trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
And when episodes of Game of Thrones dropped, like everyone was talking about it. You're not necessarily getting that. Like there are people who are excited about it, like myself and Kofi. Like we love.
It's kind of got a cult following right now,
but
it
it's
needs
not.
to be a
It
bigger
hasn't really
following.
broken through past that.
Yeah.
So, question then: what do you think by the end of the season? What do they need to do? What does the reveal need to be to generate that going into a second season?
I don't think there needs to be anything big. I think the first two episodes are very grounded in just kind of real world, like heavy stuff, like race politics and all that stuff. This third episode is a little bit more comic booky
Yeah.
and unique and kind of quirky. And I think if Watchmen keeps doing that and kind of like
I agree
differentiating itself
completely.
and being
Just as
a
a
little bit more
viewer.
fun, quirky and stuff. And this one generated some real discussion points. Like, we're joking about this scene about, this kind of really adult scene, but like it did generate talking points. It generated interviews that generated talking points. And so we need more of that kind of stuff. So check out Watchmen. Now we'll move on to a thing you can or cannot check out if you want to. I am firmly
you're-
not behind all
You're the
this.
king of selling stuff today.
I still think this is weird. This movie is weird to me. Lady and the Tramp, Disney Plus, live
We just
action.
talked about Watchmen. How can you say this is weird?
Well,
How can
And he
you say
hasn't
I
even
feel
seen
like
the scene that we're talking
Everybody knows how Kofi feels about the live action remakes.
about. Yeah.
Well, just
well,
was
it's
gonna
not
say
about the
Pixar
Disney.
movies too,
I just think
and,
this
like-
one is like, I just think
There was
it's
no
weird.
reason to do this one.
What's
Yeah,
that?
There was
I-
no reason to do this.
there's no
That
reason to
and
do
I
any
think
of
it's just
them.
weird. I can't suspend my disbelief to like not, I mean, I make the joke and you guys think I'm making a dirty joke, but like, I'm serious. Like, it's weird to me. Like, when I see anything about real live dogs falling in love, I think of one of two things. Owners who are way creepy and make their dogs do creepy things, like get up and have a whole wedding together or something like that. Or what I've just seen out in the streets when dogs have been left to roam around by themselves. And that is not romantic at all. So I can't like just forget any of that association.
Well, neither is,
head.
I mean, to be fair, like
Animated dogs, I love.
Well, I don't get how is that. See, that I don't get. If you just swore off at all, I would get it. But why does the cartoon version of it make it any less weird than the live one? I don't get the
same reason.
There's a sense of innocence.
For the same reason,
when it's
two
animated.
characters
No,
kissing
but
in animation isn't
it's
the same as two
thing.
characters
Like no
kissing in live
romantic
action.
comedy is the same as real life romance between people. Real life marriage and real life relationships are screwed up. There's no. If they were to do a romantic comedy of me and Anissa, no one would go see that. Like no one would. That's real life. I don't get it.
I don't get the live action animal movies as much either. I'm not against it. I'm kind of neutral.
I
in
love
between.
The Lion King.
But
Lady and the
yeah,
Tramp.
I didn't get that either.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I get a lot of
There
them.
are so
I get
many
Dumbo.
Disney
I get The
flicks.
Lion King. I think.
Why
I
do you
think
get Dumbo?
No, I don't even get Dumbo.
because
there's
I
so
get
many
it as a
princess
concept. This one just
things.
seems like, and I question whether or not they've had this internal talks inside because they threw it on Disney Plus. They didn't put it out in a theater. Like,
Oh, it would not have done well.
Okay, but here's the
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
I don't think that has anything to do with like your point of the issue of it being weird. I don't think it has anything to do with
Yeah.
that. I think it has to do with some of the lesser properties of Disney have gone to the movie theater and not done so well. Pete's Dragon, Winnie the Pooh, like some of those are beloved
Pete's Dragon not
classics.
do so well?
No,
I like
it
that
didn't.
one.
I mean, relatively, if you're talking about scale,
Yeah.
compared to
Sure.
a movie like, you know, I mean, even Dumbo. Dumbo was slated to be a big time thing, and that bombed. Like that's a big name property, and that didn't do well. But like compared to Aladdin, compared to Lion King, some of these Beauty and the Beast, some of these
Cinderella.
bigger things, some of these lesser known ones just aren't
Maleficent.
going to bring in that kind of money. There's a different audience for it. So I think it has more to do with that and a couple of times going to the box office and coming up broke than it does anything about a commentary on animals, live action animals having a romantic adventure.
that's fair. I mean, so that said, fine. Why don't you tell us your review of Red Rocket, a dog love story?
Well, okay,
God.
here's the thing. I won't go into a huge thing. You can go though. Very much, I would recommend you going to read my review, which is a full kind of thing. It is hilarious. I do have a funny story, and because Anissa. So one of the things I point out in the review is that if you are with people that are a little more sensitive to like treatment of animals and things like that, you might want to just prepare them a little because there are a couple scenes because you are dealing with Tramp, who is a stray. So you're going to be dealing with the Pound. You're going to be dealing with some sad stories of abandonment and things like that. So if you are in the same room watching it, like maybe I was, with someone who takes that stuff just like is very compassionate for that stuff, it was a little hard for them to watch. And it was a little like very sad over here on this corner. So just be cognizant of that. Nothing against the movie. It's just that is something.
At least you're giving warning.
Yeah, you know, just
Parents everywhere.
to be that way. I thought it was charming. It's so fun. All of these are rescue dogs. So there's just the one. It's just sweet seeing them. You know, being able to be kind of put in the spotlight, and dogs who have already had a rough life get to be put in the spotlight and treated with
That's
respect.
really
And it's
cool.
nice. They're all the voices like Tessa Thompson does Lady, Justin Theroux does Tramp. They have just great. I mean, the banter between them is really fun. I can suspend disbelief. So if every mouth motion doesn't match,
I was actually going to ask you about that. How was
there are
that?
Tell us
there
about
are
the
some
mouth
moments with Lady's vocal performance in particular that like every now and then it doesn't quite, it looks like it'll catch your eye because it looks a little like that doesn't
Weird,
look quite
okay.
right. But overall it's like I can kind of turn that off. Maybe it's because I play video games all the time.
Yeah,
where the
right.
voice acting and the mocap is
Yeah,
never
it's
quite
like
right.
never right. Yeah.
Like in anything, it's always a little off.
It is.
So like in this one, it's
so
kind of the same
funny.
way, but it's just really sweet. The spaghetti scene, so charming, so sweet. Like it is. And the overall, like by the end of the movie, look, it's not going to
Look,
rewrite
let's talk
anything.
real. Let's
It's
talk
really
real.
sweet.
This all sounds great. What did they do for the Siamese cats?
Oh.
They were actually my biggest disappointment. of the movie because one, they're barely in it, and
Well,
two,
I mean,
I just didn't
rightfully
love.
so.
I just but they're barely in it. But I just
Did
didn't.
they cut one of the greatest Disney songs of all time?
Yes.
Because it's unfortunately racist now.
They tweaked it.
Okay.
They changed it up and they tweaked it so they wouldn't have that. And plus, like, yeah, they that scene is just kind of a footnote. It's a means to an end. It's to get Lady out of the house. It's not the centerpiece song. And really, there's only 2 songs.
Man,
They only keep 2 main songs. Like
wow.
he's a tramp,
Dun,
Yeah.
ba-dum,
and then
bum,
like
bum.
the main
The-
song. But that's really it. So, but it was really fun. Look,
Look,
if you're
man, all
on
I'm
Disney
gonna say
Plus,
is I still
watch
go
it.
into people's houses now. I'm just singing under my breath now. I'm looking over my new domicile. If I like, stay for maybe quite a while.
Do you have more breaking
Lady
news?
in the Tramp story, but I got more breaking news.
Oh, here we
I
go.
saw them react behind us.
Colin Farrell is in talks to play the Penguin.
Oh
Colin
my
who?
gosh.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
What a jump from Josh
the best
Gad
part
and
today, right
Daredevil's
now
bullseye.
is just the if we can get zoom in shots on
Boo.
Goofy,
He's
just
done a lot
reacting.
since then.
I'm confused.
No, Daredevil's bullseye. I mean,
He's done
he's
so
got great
much
comic
since
book
then.
villain history.
No,
Daredevil's bullseye.
don't put
was,
that mark on
I
him.
mean,
He's done so much more since
I
then.
loved him in the first Fantastic Beasts.
Okay, yeah. No, he
Yes.
was saying
Yeah.
Colin Farrell
Oh,
is.
I know. as-
No,
as
I'm
Daredevil,
just
I
kidding.
know.
I've stuck up for
Penguin,
Colin
though?
Farrell.
Yeah, that doesn't.
As
mean-
the Penguin?
Actually,
That's okay.
strangely enough, it's like his character in Horrible Bosses makes me think like he could be
Yeah.
a great Penguin.
So are they going? Okay, so with
So
this
he
casting,
will round out the
More
villain-
importantly,
the
while I'm
villain
stuck here,
trio.
people covering all this stuff
Yes,
for
it's all
comic
So
book
are we
com?
like, we know
So now
the
we have
entire cast
Riddler,
now?
Catwoman, and Penguin are the 3 villains
that we know of?
that we know of in this.
And if they are adapting Halloween,
Long Halloween.
then
more.
there's gonna be
There's
a
going to
lot
be
more
so
castings.
much more.
See, but like
um,
as they start going down this road, I don't know if Long Halloween is going to be what they adapt. Like it feels like I feel like they may, if anything, they may take aspects of it.
They probably will.
oh
I
yeah,
don't think-
aspects. I mean,
But I don't think they're gonna go. Like you're not gonna get Calendar Man in this.
no, I mean maybe, but until you hear things about Falcone or Maroney
Right.
or any of that casting,
Yeah.
then it could just be I mean, Long Halloween could be adapted in the sense of there's somebody just killing people and Batman has to go look at different criminals he knows to see like if they're the ones and who's getting killed and how. I mean, you can play with.
I get a very Gotham vibe with these 2 castings. Like it was already kind of that way with Circus.
I mean, it's already those characters. I mean,
but like
Catwoman had a
with
big role in
Farrell as Penguin, that's a
I
very
don't know.
Cobblepot, like little like not high society, but like that gangster
Yeah.
/ club owner vibe.
Yeah.
That very much
Yes.
gives me that, which is cool.
Yeah, no, I was thinking Fantastic Beast, and the other one was Widows. Widows, he played like a corrupt kind of city official.
I mean, I definitely
that
see
type
him as a
thing.
villain. I just, not that one. I'm kind of shocked.
I mean, it's weird. It's weird.
It's a
man.
weird jump from Jonah
weird.
Hill
Yeah, from who they were.
and Josh
rumored.
Gad to
Or like they got somebody skinny. I don't understand this. Like,
no, but just
But
in
Jonah
the-
Hill's
in
like
their vibe.
comedic, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Colin
no, I
is
think this
not.
guy's not gonna. I mean, I don't think this penguin's gonna be very funny.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna be scary. Kind
That's
of,
good, though. I'm down for that.
Yeah,
would
I mean,
like a
this is
scary-
interesting. I'm just surprised more at Colin Farrell's.
I just love that like, we're
Choices.
getting this new Batman movie, right? And we have villains using villains that we've seen
Yeah.
over and over again in various places. Remember how we were talking about like way back when I felt, Matt, that there was no excitement around Robert Pattinson being cast as
When
the
you
Batman?
said there was
yeah,
no
when I said like everything that I see, like the casting for this movie, I think is top notch. These villains though, I'm like, all right, I don't.
You're not excited for Catwoman though? Because I mean,
Yeah,
we
I mean, I'd
already
love to see another.
Well,
Catwoman.
Catwoman, but
we
saw
gotta
Catwoman.
start a whole new
We've seen
Batman
Catwoman twice.
franchises.
I would
They're not-
rather see Poison
Like, they're not going to
Ivy.
reinvent the entire line of Batman villains for this movie. I mean, who else is
No,
left? Like, we can't touch Joker. We can't touch Bane. Those
Riddler's
are,
only
like,
been used
yeah,
once.
like in the 90s.
Yeah, like that to me, it's been long enough.
Sure, but we also got Riddler in Gotham TV show.
And when's the last time we
Okay,
saw?
but
yeah, Riddler and
okay.
Penguin haven't been here since the mid
But
90s. That's like
Gotham
over
touched
20
on
years.
almost everybody. Like you can't. To me, that's being.
And that's the thing about like, Unless
Right.
they're just gonna pull out like Clayface and
Oh yes,
Clayface would be a great one.
Oh.
and what's his name?
Clayface is
Or the
awesome.
or Firefly. Like,
Or Man Bat.
no, God,
I
stop it.
I don't care about Bat.
But see,
Yeah.
I was gonna
I
say
don't care
Poison
about
Ivy, but I
Man
can't.
Bat.
was
because
gonna
according
say,
to your
Did you
theory,
see Janelle's face when you just said Man Bat? There you go.
No, but I think Poison Ivy would have been awesome.
But
Such
And
then
she's-
we've
I just
seen
don't-
her too.
I-
much.
And
wanna see-
we
I-
still don't know that she's not in this
That's
movie.
true.
Oh.
But I would have
Yeah.
thought someone like Matt Reeves. I mean, to be fair, he's got other movies that he may do in the Batman universe. But like, I want to see Matt Reeves tackle someone like a Mr. Freeze.
Oh, I would love.
Like, I think that would be-
Again, somebody we don't know isn't
That's true.
necessarily in
King
this
Tut.
movie. Stop it. All right, Colin Farrell Penguin's blowing my mind, but this show's getting way off track with all these surprise castings. We are way off track, so I'm going to bring us back.
I broke
Stay
it
tuned
with
because
King
when
Tut.
we
Okay,
get back,
sorry.
we're going to put all this chaos in a box, and we are going to review Terminator Dark Fate and discuss what happened with that franchise this weekend. And Matt is going to break down the new comics this week for us, so stay tuned. All right. All that Batman stuff aside.
Oh, wait! I have another one. What about Mad Hatter? I would love to see Reeves do Mad Hatter.
Oh, that would actually.
Colin Farrell would have been a good Mad Hatter.
Yeah, not a bad one.
Oh my gosh.
Like, he'd have been really good.
But King
And-
Tut.
Yeah. Jarvis. Yeah, no,
That's the
Jarvis
one
Tech.
that breaks it.
Dude, I would love to see Mad Hatter, Firefly, Mr. Scarface,
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze. Yeah, Mr. Scarface is great. The ventriloquist.
Kite Man.
I would love to see Jonah Hill be the ventriloquist. That'd be great.
I just said it to get that.
Tight miss. Stop it. I just... All right, so
We closed
Terminator,
the box. We closed the box for
Terminator
10
Dark
seconds if
Fate.
we opened it, but now we're closing it again.
First of all, who here has seen Terminator Dark Fate? Am I the only one?
I have not seen it.
No, Jim.
I wanted to see it on Friday.
That's not an answer. Nobody cares. if you wanted to
Just-
do.
That's sad.
Your well wishes
That's what
have no
someone
place in
does
this
when the
podcast.
homework is due.
So okay, this is good. This
I
is
really
good.
wanted to, but
Did you though?
everyone getting. I know. I will still probably see it this weekend. But regardless of everything I've heard and everything that we're going to talk about, but
Well, we're not going to talk that long. I mean, I'm the only one who saw it. So, all right, I will go through this real quick.
I have some issues with some of the plot points and spoilers.
Terminator Dark Fate. We're going to talk spoilers. This movie came back and is trying to relaunch the franchise and give it a kind of, it's like a requel, is what I call it. It's a reboot and a sequel. It's a direct sequel to T2 that tries to set up a whole new franchise. It brings back Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton. And what I will say is, I came in the office because I went out late Thursday night and saw this because they didn't screen it around here. Surprise, surprise now, why? But Terminator Dark Fate is it's a rare case of a really good kind of sequel story, but a director who really wasn't good at bringing it to the screen. I will say this to anybody who will listen. I think right from the first 3 minutes I saw the film, I was like, okay, director Tim Miller is not a good director, and Deadpool was a
no.
fluke. Like,
Oh,
this movie
wow.
was bad enough in the directing that I retroactively take Deadpool down a couple notches.
Whoa.
Because obviously you had
that's
a lot of help
extreme.
with like Ryan Reynolds and other people like doing this, because he's a visual effects guy, and visual effects sequences all well designed, interesting, but he doesn't know how to hold a camera or shoot, or definitely not slower paced things. Most of this looks like somebody's YouTube fan video for Terminator. It's not good. So the presentation.
No one's gonna go see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great story. It's the most interesting Terminator movie since T2 in terms of how it sets up new things, how it deals with, there's this major twist. I'm not going to tell you the major twist, even though we're talking spoilers, that changes the entire nature of the mythos in the future.
Why
now
are we
it's
gonna
just-
talk about
That's
it?
what I was going to bring up because
Yeah, why aren't we gonna
Okay, we'll talk about
I
it.
have
Fine.
issues.
That's the most interesting
Because 3
part to
people
me,
in
and
the
I'm
world
not
have
told.
seen Terminator, and I just tried to preserve some of the mystery. But we got to tell you everything so you go out to the theater and possibly see this.
Yeah.
So the movie begins with an alternate. I called it. Brandon wouldn't let me write this in an article, but I wanted to call it a post-credit scene to T2 because that's essentially what it is. Where years after T2, Sarah Connor finally relaxes. She goes on like South American tour with John Connor. They're just relaxing on beaches, trying to be mother and son. And they're in Guatemala somewhere in one random time. And what she explains in voiceover, Sarah Connor, is that, Skynet, they did the Genesis thing. Skynet sent multiple Terminators back to kill her, or kill John. And so when the T-1000 failed, it activated this other one, who's a T-800 Arnold, who basically just walks up to them on a bar on a beach after Sarah Connor's whole thing is she finally let go and relaxed and said, I don't have to worry and be like this
What?
anymore. And this T-800 just steps out of stage left and blows away John Connor in the first 3 minutes of the movie, and he gets gunned down. And so that's the story. John Connor, they changed the future. It's no longer Skynet, Judgment Day, John's the savior of mankind, but in a cruel twist of fate, like, he also gets taken out like Skynet does. So you flash forward to present day, and the Terminators are coming back for this girl in Mexico named Danny Ramos, and they send back a soldier, Mackenzie Davis's character Grace, to protect her. And Grace is an augmented human because now we find out there's this whole new future. There is no Skynet. She doesn't know what the hell when she finally meets Sarah Connor Skynet is. She says we create a AI designed specifically for cyber warfare in coming changing times, and it's called Legion, and Legion's the one that determines like we're the biggest threat. And so it doesn't kill us. It causes us to it manipulates world events so that we kill each other and cause nuclear holocaust and kind of world war. And then it creates the machine army just to clean up Earth and finish us off. And the Terminators it creates are very advanced and different. They're Rev 9 models like Diego Luna's character who have exoskeletons and liquid metal forms that they can merge with. And it's pretty awesome in the future sequences when you see these Terminators. Some of them move like dogs and stuff, and like they can morph and shift into kind of beasts and things like that. And they're pretty nightmarish about how because there's sequences of like Grace's unit trying to fight them, and that's how she becomes an augmented human because they get wiped out, and to save her life, they make her a cyborg and send her back. So a lot of the movie is really good. It's about dealing with Sarah Connor, kind of dealing with this trauma of losing John Connor and what she's become since then, and her having to kind of try to protect this new girl. And they try to make it a mystery, and this is a really stupid part of the movie that's really heavy-handed because Sarah Connor's all bitter that the future's only plan for her was her womb and to birth this kid who she was obsessed with, and then like that was only her role in destiny was this man she was supposed to give birth to. And the big twist is when Grace reveals that Danny Ramos is the future savior. She is the John Connor. She doesn't give birth to a John Connor. She is. So it's actually like a woman who saves the future. And it becomes this whole future loop time storyline because Grace was like one of the first people to survive from the post-world after Legion takes it. And she's saved by Danny, who trains her to become the elite soldier that she becomes and then sends her back. But Danny only does this because Grace comes back and is her protector. And at the end of the movie, like Grace doesn't make it, but Danny's mission is to erase the future where Grace has to die. And that aligns her with Sarah Connor. And so Sarah Connor becomes her mentor. So Sarah Connor's mentoring the future savior. Yeah. And so it's this whole causality loop again.
Yeah.
I mean, the comment
You lost me
section
somewhere.
liked majority that have seen it have liked.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good story, and Diego Luna's really good. The Terminator, the RX Terminator is terrifying with everything that it can do, because even like when you deal with the liquid metal part, there's this hard exoskeleton that's just murdering people, and and the whole kind of pace of the story is good about how they have to get out of Mexico and smuggle themselves across the border, and then they find Arnold, who is the Terminator that killed John. That's his storyline. So he's the Terminator that killed John, and when he fulfilled his mission, Skynet doesn't continue anything. You're just a tool without a use now. So he became more human over the decades.
Oh my god!
And he actually develops guilt for what he did, and you find out the other secret is he's the one who gave the future people the coordinates where to send Grace back, and he's the one who's been telling Sarah Connor for decades whenever Terminators kind of breach and come to this time, because he knows all the breach points. So he tells her, and they work as a team. And so there's this other storyline of her having to work with him when she finds out the truth about how she's been getting these missions and who he is, where she has to kind of put it aside long enough to take out this other Terminator, because she just keeps telling Arnold, like, I'm going to blow your face off as soon as this is over. And that whole storyline is
That
kind of
sounds
powerful.
awesome.
Yeah.
It is awesome.
And the comment section
That's
liked it,
why
like,
I am still going to see it
Yeah.
this weekend.
I think I want to as well.
Yeah, it's odd. It's an odd case of a movie where when you explain it all to people, they're like, "That's actually interesting. I want to see that." Like,
So why is it doing so badly at the box office?
I mean, I think
it's
there's
timing.
franchise fatigue, and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
timing. I think people are burnt out
I said,
on Terminator. It's
And I
been
don't
a
even
while.
think
They're
They've
jaded
had-
on these past reboots. They're kind of like, I don't know.
right, and
Yeah.
then with word getting out that, like, most of Deadpool was carried by Deadpool as opposed to
Tim Miller.
Tim Miller. It's it's just kind of
It's not an exciting. I mean, it's not an exciting. It's a big blockbuster action movie, but doesn't look like that. I mean, you have to work this hard to kind of squander the potential of that kind of movie, and he does it. So, I mean, it's not like that satisfying as like a thrilling visual experience, but it is a really good sci-fi story. I think more people should give it a chance. I hope it gets a second life on home video and things like that, and it really becomes interesting, and people really do want to see more. Because it actually does and this is the irony that makes my head hurt, I've done now 3 Terminator movies since I've started this, and they've all bombed. Salvation, Genesis, and this. And this is by far the most interesting and the only one that actually restarts and puts a fire back into the Terminator franchise. Like that's something I really want to write. It's time for James Cameron to get back in this kitchen, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
Like this actually rekindles
That was
the fire.
part of the cool, right? That he was back in the kitchen.
Well,
And now we know
But
that,
if you
if you read a lot of between the lines.
Well, he also did an interview that basically said, like, he compared working with Robert Rodriguez on Alita and working with Tim Miller on Terminator as 2 completely different experiences, where he had such a great time working with Robert on Alita that he thought Tim was coming in to basically be another Robert. But Jim basically came out and said that, like, Tim had his movie that he wanted to make, and and Jim was like, but I know this world and I want to do this, this, and this. And that's where sort of the clashing sort of happened.
And he probably saw the dailies and was like, yo, you can't hold an effing camera. What's wrong with you? Like, that's not Avatar worthy. Like, come on. But no, I mean, I do. I hope it gets another chapter because this is the most interesting like rekindling of the franchise that I've seen so far. And it made me want to see more Terminator. So I don't know what you do with all that. Maybe we go out and some people see more of it. Like I said, maybe it gets a second life on home video.
Maybe it does really well on home video.
Yeah, when people don't have to invest in theater. I also think it was timing. I said, and I will maintain
really
up and down, it really annoys me. And they only did it because it's the 35th anniversary of the original Terminator's release. Nobody cared about
I
that.
didn't even know that.
Exactly.
Like they
Nobody
didn't do that in
cared.
marketing.
Nope.
That's
Nope,
another
they
thing.
didn't even
I feel
put
like
it
I
in
never
there.
saw it.
It wasn't an event.
I
We didn't make
didn't-
it a milestone anniversary. We didn't do anything.
Their marketing, I never
Yeah.
saw any ads for it on anything because I don't live on like cable TV. I'm on,
Yeah.
But it was
social
it was
media
also around
and
like Halloween, and it's just like it was.
And that's the thing. That was a crucial mistake. Like, I think
wait,
it and
I
Doctor
stand
Sleep should have flipped release dates. Like, Doctor Sleep's coming out this week, right after Halloween. I think Doctor Sleep should have been a Halloween movie. And this should have come out now because, like I said, like, people are now burned out. We all partied. Everybody partied on Halloween. Everybody's
anything
partied out.
That's why
It's
I'm voting.
dark, daylight savings. People are just tired. People are getting sick. It's like, if you gave us a good halfway franchise movie this weekend, like, people are gonna go see. So I'm interested to see what it does second weekend. But that's Terminator: Dark Fate, a movie they did not know they were naming and also describing the pathway of what this movie would be.
So quick thing, if this doesn't, which it looks like right now, won't perform.
Oh, it's 29 million. It's dead.
Yeah. So if it doesn't,
They'll do another.
well, here's the thing though. What is the way? Because they
I think-
presented this amazing
I honestly
thing.
think it's talent. I think if they get a bigger name creator who wants to come on and take the.
But Cameron, would
No,
it
get
take
Cameron.
Cameron?
Even if it was James Cameron, if James Cameron came back, I guess.
And I'm gonna write an article soon that says he has to.
Yep.
Like, I think that's
and we're
at
gonna force
this
him
point,
to do this. Yeah.
I feel like
at this point, James Cameron has to.
that's the only way you get somebody to give.
Yeah.
Come back and T2 this whole
fourth
thing
shot.
all over again. Yeah. And also cut some of the ties. We've done Arnold now storyline as many ways
Yeah,
as we
it's
possibly can.
done, son.
Like, we've de-aged him. We've found ways to bring old Arnold in. Cut that and make this Linda Hamilton's last movie. I mean, she doesn't cost as much as an Arnold.
I mean,
but
I like seeing
keep
her
the talent
act.
cost down. You don't have to pay the Danny Ramos
Isn't
actress a
isn't
lot.
The idea though that like the Arnold helps bring in the international money theoretically.
We'll see.
I mean, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
But that's Terminator's Dark Fate. All right. So, moving on from that happy topic, let's go something more buoyant here. Matt, tell us what's going on in comics this week.
Oh, this is what does. Yeah, okay. So I'm really bummed now, actually, because I'm really excited for this movie.
Yeah,
and
me
it's
too.
Still
gonna-
be excited. Go see it.
it's
I'm gonna
gonna-
go see it.
I'm gonna go see it for sure.
So yeah, so
Man, if we all did this for like a podcast, it'd be awesome. Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm happy.
Poor
I was
timing,
with you guys.
Kofi. Poor timing.
yeah, poor timing. There you go. So yeah, comics this week. Marvel has, if you've been following our House of X and Powers of 10 coverage, we've got 2 Dawn of X books coming out this week. So X-Force
2?
number 1
Oh, man.
and New Mutants number 1. I don't know if you had a chance to
No,
read
I
yet.
haven't
I
yet.
read both.
I really liked both.
Don't go
Completely
too
different
deep.
reasons.
You know we're
I
gonna.
did not really like New Mutants. I loved X-Force.
X-Force was okay. X-Force might be one of the most surprising ones so far, just with what they do.
I think it has the wrong title. I don't think it should be X-Force. I think when I think of X-Force, I think it's something completely different.
I agree. That's why I went into it.
But to me, and Kobe, I know this is something that you've kind of been waiting for. This picks up all of the hype that House and Powers like dropped and continues it on. Like this to me feels like the next chapter of the Hoxpox story.
Which is crazy because you don't feel like that would be coming from X-Force. You
No,
feel like it
which
would be
is why I
coming
feel
from
like
X-Men.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, but it's great. Like it's really good. I know Jamie didn't like New Mutants either. I really enjoyed it. That was probably one of the books I was least excited about coming into this, even though Hickman's writing it. And I mean, a lot of people like the New Mutants as a group. Huh?
Co-writing.
He's co-writing it. But I just really thought this was fun. I just really enjoyed the.
To be fair, I think they have been the best looking of the X-Men spin-off books, even better than X-Men. I think I love Rod Reese's, Sienkiewicz meets Phil Noto style in New Mutants, and having Dean White color X-Force brings me back to the Remender days of X-Force.
I didn't love.
All right, yeah. Keep it moving. We're not going too deep. We're gonna review.
Right,
we're gonna review both these books.
Really like the books.
Yeah.
They're really good though. Daredevil number 13 is also really good. This is another one in the kind of Matt Murdock's learning how to really be Daredevil again. So if you're a fan of the Elektra Daredevil kind of back and forth over the other books, this is definitely one worth checking out. Plus, it deals a lot with Kingpin in some new and interesting ways that you don't really see him dealt with. So very good as
He's
well.
mayor of New York and he legalized weed. It's awesome.
Batman number 82 surprised snot out of me. They do some very interesting things in that book that I did not expect. If you are a fan of Batman and Catwoman, you again, like Tom King's main arc has been, if you're a fan of those two, again, they're doing some great stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, those two in his hands, it's very divisive. A lot of people don't like the Bat-Cat back and forth thing. I do, and it's just great. So this book again but delivers a very big shock towards the end. So if you're looking for that kind of hook for the next issue, this has it. I know Jim's gonna roll his eyes when I say Green Lantern Black Stars number 1. Grant Morrison's 3-issue kind of weird. It's like a spin-off kind of, but in between book because they're taking a break from the Green Lantern for a little bit so that Liam Sharp can kind of get ahead. So this book just continues. Hal Jordan is a part of this new force. If you're, Grant Morrison stuff.
Yeah.
If you're a fan of the ambitious and weird, you're gonna find stuff to like in this book. If you're not
quality, so I kind of have to.
If you like the more traditional storytelling though of even Green Lantern, but some other books, this is a lot. Like he assumes you read the other one. And so you just kind of go in and he starts telling all these huge
Yeah, how
stories.
weird does Grant Morrison in space get? Like,
It's pretty weird. Like, it's pretty weird.
It's everything you think, Kofi.
yeah,
Everything and more.
I hope not.
So if you want something a little more, also weird, but in a different way, Legion of Superheroes number 1 launches. Bendis is in full form there, and it has Jonathan Kent, Superboy, going into the future and joining them. So there's a tie from those Action Comics books. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's fine. I'm not a giant fan of the artwork. I mean, I'm not. I'm just not. That's just not my bag.
I love Ryan Sook on covers, and I thought some of the stuff that he did in, I guess, some of the stuff leading up to it, I thought looked great. But when I saw some of the preview pages for this, I was like, well, okay.
That visual style just doesn't do a lot for me. So it's not anything against it. I mean, I imagine fans will like it. It's just not the biggest thing for me. But it is interesting storytelling wise. For those who have been kind of missing a book in like the Wonder Woman format from Greg Rucka a couple years back, Lois Lane has been excellent. Rucka's just knocking it out of the park. And if you're a fan of Renee Montoya Question, there's some awesome question sequences in here where she's just beating the crap out of like some thugs. And it's like she's doing this investigation along with Lois Lane. There's a whole also breakdown on like reporting in America and kind of a topical thing about like what reporters actually do, what their research is. It's this opening conversation on a plane with her. And it's excellent. So this book, I could not recommend this book more. It's a mini series, so it's not going to be forever, but it's very good. Also, Spawn number 302. Spawn just keeps, and I mean, you're the bigger Spawn fan than me, but it's been enjoyable. I've enjoyed
I
it.
am more shocked that we've gotten this far with Todd actually
Yeah.
contributing pages to the book.
Yeah.
And nothing gets me hyped more than seeing some Todd McFarlane art, and so I'll read it.
And then last but not least, Buffy the Vampire Slayer #9. We are in the middle of the Hellmouth event, so Angel and Buffy are crossing over. And again, if you're a fan of Willow and Xander and kind of her crew, Spike and all those people, Hellmouth has been really fun, and they do a lot of drawbacks to the original show. So you should definitely check it out. So that's me.
All right. Well, that'll do it for this episode of Comic Book Nation. We did a whole show, plus a few bonus surprises from the Batman.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so if you have anything that we've been talking about up here you want to weigh in on, make sure you hit us up at the hashtag Comic Book Nation. If you're just now getting into the show, we post new episodes every Wednesday and Friday on Comicbook.com, where you can subscribe to our RSS feed to get regular updates about the show, or you can subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Google Playlists. You can tell any Amazon Alexa device to fire up Comic Book Nation podcast, or you can check us out on the YouTube, where all the kids see their video stuff.
YouTube.
On the YouTube. That's a deep cut joke I'll explain later. But if you want to talk to any of us individually, you can find me at Kofi Outlaw.
You can find me at Matt Aguilar CB.
And you can find me actually on twitch.tv/Janelle Wheeler and at Janelle Wheeler on all social.
Twitch plugs. It's finally happened. It's like you're a real part of the show now.
I am a video gamer.
Yeah, let's just do an extended plug. If you guys are down for, you like chilling with Janelle here every Wednesday on the show, she also does streams.
Live
Streams.
4 days a week. I got you.
Here's a little
Told the
party.
Wheeler Wagon about us.
I've definitely told the Wheeler Wagon. We like to watch it on stream, actually.
great.
Yeah.
Oh,
Wheeler
yeah,
Wagon,
there you
that's my
go.
community.
Boom. There's,
Great fan
from
of
what I gather, there is some singing, there is some baking, there's some gaming. Like, you got a fun little stream happening over
Yeah,
there.
it's
So,
really cool.
Yeah.
Definitely check it out.
Yeah, so
And actually, the Terminator was heavily promoted on Twitch.
nice. There you go. We just brought this all
did
full
know
circle.
I did know
You
I
just
was going to
didn't go
correct
see it.
myself, but then I just
You
kinda
guys
started
let Terminator
backpedaling.
die.
Yeah,
Man, you guys
My
let
fault.
Terminator die.
my fault.
All right, well,
He's
now,
not wrong. He's not wrong.
well, we're going to go pour one out for Terminator. That's going to do it for us. If you love the show, be sure to leave those 5-star reviews on iTunes, because we're going to read some more, and we're going to
T-shirts
send some
going out tomorrow.
T-shirts. Yeah, and we have a new
They're
batch of
so
T-shirts already
comfortable,
going
too.
out. So
They're
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, we've created some living billboards here in the office, so make sure you're one of them too. Leave that 5-star review. All right, that'll do it for this episode of Comic Book Nation. We're going to get out of here. We'll see you guys for our Friday show. Deuces.
Deuces.
Wait, what?